actually awaiting, the decision, Supreme Court's decision on Trump tariffs. But there is a breaking that is coming in from the US that Supreme Court will actually not issue a ruling on the tariffs today. But having said that, the tariffs have been a point of discussion for this entire week. In fact, the starting week of 2026,
yes.
First it started with levying 50%, coming back to the figure of 50%. Then it reached 500%, if India continues to buy Russian oil, and of course penalizing other nations who also buy oil from Russia.
Coming back to the ruling part, which is what all the viewers were waiting, now that important update from Supreme Court, they are not saying that the ruling is in favor of either of the party. In fact, Supreme Court is not deciding themselves. So it is a delayed decision. Yes, the decision will come from Supreme Court, whether or not the tariffs which has been levied by Donald Trump actually holds or not, and that is still in waiting.
Yeah, that is absolutely still in waiting. But let's discuss, if in fact Supreme Court rules in favor, what will happen in fact, and if it doesn't rule in favor of the tariffs, then what will be the implications on the US and also the global markets?
Of course, we will pray that they do not rule in favor of Trump. The whole the world market is praying for that, but all decision lies in the hand of Supreme Court of United States.
So to discuss this, we are joined in by Raj Kamal Rao, who's the managing director of Rao Advisories LLC and also an op-ed columnist, and then we have Jonah Blank, American author and journalist. Both of you, welcome to ET Now and joining us, for this discussion. So Supreme Court has, in fact, said that it will not pass the ruling, around tariffs today. But Jonah, I want to come to you first. How far-reaching is the impact of, all of these excessive tariffs laid by US, who is also, by the way, in trade discussions with many of these nations on the countries and the US economy as well? If you can give us an understanding of this.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. These tariffs are enormously wide-ranging. They affect every nation in the world, but none more so than India. As you know, the tariff imposed on India, 50%, is higher than any nation on earth. There are one or two, Brazil, that are equal, but there's none that are higher. Why is this? Purely Trump's own whim. And that's what the Supreme Court is wrestling with. Because the Supreme Court, 3 members of whom were appointed by Trump and 6 members of whom were appointed by members of his own party, very much wants to do Trump's bidding. This is probably a bridge too far for them, but it's unlikely that they're really going to actually come to the rescue of the world economic system.
I also want to come to you, Mr. Rao. Now the ruling will not come today. We do not have an answer when this ruling will come, whether later in the day today or next week or later. But having said that, this delay is going to disappoint everyone. What is your take?
Yeah, lots of people. Thank you for having me. Lots and lots of people were waiting for this. You're right. You're absolutely right. Around the world, they were waiting for this. And there are people with skin in the game on both sides. And so you're right. Whenever it comes out, people will be waiting eagerly for what happens.
If you can give us an understanding on, what exactly, is expected from Supreme Court. Will it rule in favor of the tariffs? Will it go against the tariffs? How do they, thread this this line? What exactly can we expect? Because, we are at the edge of our seats. The whole world is at their edge of their seats.
Yes, thank you. Obviously, it's very difficult to predict what the what the court would do. But I can predict one thing, that the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court will likely be in the majority. And in the past, he has proven himself to be a very shrewd political operator. Uh, he sometimes sides with conservatives, he sometimes sides with liberals, like he did with the Obamacare ruling in 2011 or 12. So we know that the three liberal voices on the Supreme Court will strike Trump down. Three conservative justices, I think, will uphold the Trump position. So it will ultimately be, believe it or not, it's ultimately going to be uh, the choice of like two or three justices that will tilt the decision in one way or the other. And it's just my guess. I hate to guess, but it's possible that because tariffs are bringing in much needed revenue to the United States Treasury, there may be it may be a 5-4 decision in favor of Trump. This is just purely my guess.
I was reading some reports, and certain experts are pointing towards actually 28% chance that Supreme Court may rule in favor of the tariff going forward. Do you see that? Because 28% is a big number.
Yes, and yes, and you were asking me, right? So I'm going to answer, and then I'll let Jonah respond. Um, uh, what is what they're going to probably do is, they know that even if they strike it down, Trump has other tools in his weaponry. He can impose the same kinds of tariffs using national security reasons or considerations. So maybe they will give the people who challenge this executive order, they'll give them a brief victory by going against Trump, knowing that Trump is going to win anyway. But yeah, you're right. 28% is a big number. And I think it's because Trump has always shown a tendency to really stretch the law. And maybe this is the time that they might bring a pause.
Due to paucity of time, I'll ask, we will have to pause this discussion, but we'll definitely connect back once again when the ruling of Supreme Court has arrived. For now, it's time to say thanks to our guests, Mr. Rao and Mr. Blank. Thank you so much for joining us.